New haircut? Who
Yes.
deals? I just saw the new movie. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. Is it any good? How many butter pumps will it get? Let's find out.
My baby likes butter
Hello, my butter babies. So let's talk about Are You There, God? It's a movie that's based off the 1970 Judy Blume middle grade novel of the same name. Full disclosure, I knew little to nothing about this book going into the movie outside of the pop culture references that have surrounded it for the past 50 years. I knew that it was a book that was written for girls, so growing up it was never on my radar as a book I should read. The most I knew about the book was it was about a preteen girl and menstruation. That's it. That's all I knew. So knowing that about me, you might be thinking, well, then why are you, Stephen, a fully grown-ass man with a fabulous new haircut, seeing a movie about a preteen girl about to go through puberty? That's kind of creepy, right? Wrong. It's my opinion, men, regardless of how old they are, should know as much about women as possible. The more we know about each other, the more understanding can be gained. And with more understanding comes more compassion. And we would all benefit from a more compassionate world, right? Right. So I went into this movie with the intent of broadening my horizons. I wanted to learn a little bit more about women, and if that meant sitting through 2 hours of women talking about the finer points of menstruating, then fine. Let's do this. I'm ready to learn. How pleasantly surprised I was then to discover that this movie was so much more than that. This movie is not just about a little girl on the brink of physical womanhood, but this girl is also on the brink of figuring out who she is as a person, where she fits in spiritually, where she fits in emotionally. I would even venture to say this movie is more about those things than the mechanics of hormones and physical evolution during puberty. Yes, we do have those I can't wait to get my period conversations and the delightfully hilarious we must increase our bust. And those do carry their appropriate depth and weight and are crucial to the plot of this movie. But there's more to it than that. We get to go on a journey with this little girl that takes us through the last year of her life before her first cycle begins. And what a journey it is. Her family moves from Manhattan to the Jersey suburbs, taking Margaret, our movie's heroine, from her school, her friends, her grandmother, and the only life she's ever known. She makes friends with Nancy, a neighborhood girl around her same age. Nancy introduces her to Gretchen and Janie, and they quickly form a secret club called the Preteen Sensations girl group, where they talk about their hopes for their first period, getting their first bras, their first kisses, and of course, boys. The movie lacks cynicism, which surprised me in the most delightful way. With this secret club the girls started, it very easily could have slipped into Mean Girls territory. All the ingredients are there, and lest we forget, the original Mean Girl herself, Rachel McAdams, stars as Margaret's mother in the movie. So all the ingredients are there for this to be a Mean Girls kind of a movie. How refreshing that it wasn't. Yes, it does dip its toe into Mean Girl territory from time to time, but by and large, it keeps its optimism. Margaret has grown up in a household where there is no religion practiced. Her mother is a Christian and her father a Jew. They decided they wouldn't raise Gretchen as anything in particular and allow her to make her own spiritual choices when she got older. Gretchen is advised by her teacher, Mr. Benedict, played here by Ethel Kellum, that she should tackle religion as one of the papers she writes for her 6th grade class because it's something that she doesn't experience in her house. So throughout the film, Margaret goes on a quest to find religion. She goes to temple for the first time with her beloved grandmother, played here with all the scene-stealing and scenery-chewing deliciousness Kathy Bates could conjure up. She attends a black church with her friend Janie. She goes to a white church with Nancy. She even goes to confession after a really emotionally brutal fight with Laura Danker. At the end of the movie, she hasn't made any decisions about how she feels about God or if God even exists. Still, even at her lowest points in the movie, she doesn't completely abandon the concept of God and talks to him in voiceover throughout the movie. One of the reasons Margaret's parents were so adamant not to raise her religious was it was because of the twisting of religion into bigotry that caused Margaret's mom, Barbara, to be disowned by her own parents. Her parents are ultra-conservative and just couldn't abide the fact that the man Barbara fell in love with was a Jew. So much so that they said if she married him, they would disown her. They were good on their word. They hadn't talked to Barbara in 14 years and had never met Margaret. It's very easy to hide behind bigotry, behind the face of religion. It happens all the time. They did not want Margaret to experience that firsthand, and so they made the conscious choice to keep her away from it. At the climax of the movie, Barbara has reached out to her parents after 14 years via a New Year's Day card. Her parents reached back to say they were going to be on the East Coast and would love to stop by for a visit. Sylvia, Margaret's grandmother, gets wind of this and shows up with her hot new geriatric boyfriend. They all have a very awkward dinner together, and at the end, an argument breaks out, of course, over what religion Margaret is. Sylvia insists Margaret is Jewish. She's not. Barbara's parents insist she is, or at least should be, a Christian. Again, not true. Margaret's parents are arguing with both their parents that they're raising Margaret to make her own decisions. That part, at least, was true. It all comes to a head when Margaret basically screams for them all to shut up and that she doesn't even know if she believes in God, and she goes storming off to her room. This was the one part of the movie I wish were just a little bit different. Just a little tweak. Not much, but just a little bit different. Yes, Barbara's parents are bigots, hiding behind the shield of Christianity. And yes, bigots are awful, but there wasn't any nuance to them at all. For the 4 quick scenes they were in the movie, they were nothing more than two-dimensional villains. And I don't know if it was written that way, edited that way, or the actors were told to play them that way. But in the end, that's all they were. And I know it's easier to write villains without any shading, depth, or nuance. And we don't always have to know the villain's tragic origin story to feel for them. But to have them just be the polite bigots they are, with nothing more to them than that, was the one part of the movie I thought could have been handled just a little bit better. But by and large, this was a fantastic movie. All of the supporting cast had something to do, even the men. At the beginning of the movie, I was really worried that Benny Safdie, who played Margaret's dad, Herb, was just going to say, "Well, honey, I'm off to work," and be gone for the majority of the movie. I thought the same thing about Kathy Bates. Now, I don't know why I thought that about Kathy Bates and why Kathy would agree to just be in one scene in any movie. How dare you? She is a legend, an Oscar-winning legend at that, but I just thought, wow, are they going to really misuse Kathy Bates like that? But no, both characters were vital to the development of the story and were present throughout most of the film. Even the bigot parents got to stick around for 4 quick scenes. There were a lot of supporting characters throughout the film, and they all got their just due in front of the camera. They all had something important to do to carry the movie forward. No character was wasted. As I said, the movie doesn't end with Margaret making any hard and fast decisions about her spirituality. In fact, the movie as a whole doesn't end with every major and minor subplots getting tied up in a neat little bow. Some relationships are started, some fall apart. Some, like Barbara and her parents, end with us not really knowing if they'll ever mend their relationship. Sylvia moves to Florida with her new hot geriatric boyfriend. Kathy was just so sop her up with the biscuits, so good in this movie. She was so Agnes Moorehead in Bewitched in this movie. And that she moved to Florida with her hot new geriatric boyfriend was just chef's kiss. Barbara, who put her art teacher career on hold to move out to the Jersey suburbs with her family, at the end of the movie opens up an art supply store and teaches art classes on the weekend. Margaret stops being friends with Nancy and Gretchen, and instead Margaret, Janine, and Laura Danker become fast friends. Margaret finally makes a move on the boy she's been pining after the entire movie. And of course, the final scene in the movie is Margaret finally getting her first period. After a joyous celebration with her mom in the bathroom, in voiceover she thanks God for making it all happen. What a beautiful, beautiful movie. I cannot speak highly enough about it. It really is terrific. So how many butter pumps am I going to give this movie? 5. That's right, 5 butter pumps. Regardless of your age, gender, or gender expression, you will find something in this movie that speaks to you. I encourage you to please go see this movie. So now I turn it over to you, my butter babies. Have you seen Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret. If so, how many butter pumps would you give it? Sound off in the comments down below. I want to hear all about it. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, butter babies, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.